I'm afraid someone's gotta die now.
Scream is one of, if not the best horror movie franchise, as it's a unique meta slasher franchise which revived the whole slasher genre. For a lot of people, they say the newer movies in the franchise have just lost their spark. People argue that the shift away from Sidney into newer characters in the more recent Scream movies have really made Scream lose that same charm that made it what it is today. Many people consider Scream 5 the point where the franchise began to decline. So let's take a deep dive into Scream 5. The good, the bad, and why I think it holds up better than the other newer installments in the franchise.
The police were on their way, asshole!
Scream 5 introduces us to many new characters as it's a meta requel and continues the original story 25 years after the first, while introducing a new generation alongside returning legacy cast members. In the intro, we meet Tara Carpenter, played by Jenna Ortega, who was framed as the opening kill, but as we later find out, she survived. We then get introduced to who I think is one of the best newer characters, Sam Carpenter, who is played by Melissa Barrera, alongside with a newer character, Richie Kirsch, who is played by Jack Wade. Sam Carpenter is such a great character as her character is acted so well and has so many struggles. Sam then gets a call about Tara being in the hospital, who is her sister, and her and Richie rush off to the hospital. Sam and Tara have been far away from each other after their dad left them. I really like this as it allowed for them to rebond over the movie. Sam has a secret. Billy Loomis is her father, and she is having hallucinations of him talking to her. It's really destroying her because she's the reason their dad left, as she was the one that found out Billy Loomis was her dad and that her mum cheated, and because of that, their dad left.
Because you're the villain.
Sam and Tara are one of the best parts of this movie, as their sisterly bond again is unbeatable and amazing. I honestly think I wouldn't have minded too much if Sidney left the franchise eventually and they became the full leads. Sam and Tara aren't the only good parts of this movie though, and that leads me to my next point. The ghost faces.
The fucking killer!
I know.
They were just so good, as I really loved Amber. She really felt like she was like Stu. Like she just genuinely didn't have a good reason, she was just crazy to be honest. And Richie, while he was also quite good, but he was a little expected. But they did still manage to subvert expectations. I really loved Amber's reveal as it felt so unique and different by having her just randomly go it and to just admit that she's Ghostface. I really like how she just ran out. She just ran outside pretending to be a victim. And I loved how Sidney and Gail looked at each other and they agreed it was an act. And Richie, he also had a great reveal. He pretended to not be Ghostface after he'd just been shot by Sidney by accident. And then after he went down the stairs with a limp, and then he went up to Sam randomly, pulled out a knife and just stabbed her. Now this leads me on to my next point, the ending. At the end, Richie and Amber love the Stab movies, which are the in-universe Scream movies, and they're trying to make their own Stab movie, but better. And they tried to recreate the ending from Stab 1, or for us, Scream 1996. They have Gail, Sidney and Sam in the Stu Macher house kitchen where Richie and Amber explain their motives.
They just laugh at us, and why?
And then Amber gets burned alive, which was absolutely brutal, but such a cool kill. And then Richie gets stabbed a bunch of times by Sam, which was really deserved, and really shows off Sam's full potential. But then Amber came back, her face all burned and disgusting, and then she got shot in the head. All the things I've said so far have been positive. But even though I like this movie, it doesn't mean it's all good, as there was some aspects that I thought were lacking. In Scream 5, Dewey really became the Han Solo of this franchise. He is no longer a police officer. Dewey and Gail got divorced. He's living in a small trailer and he's just really lost everything. Sam and Richie ask Dewey for help, and he refuses to help, which is nothing like him. After Sam and Richie leave, he alerts Sidney and Gail, which is so Dewey of him, and he decides to help Sam and Richie. Since Sydney said, "Whoever this person is, at least they have you to protect them," which made him feel bad. Hara ends up getting attacked by Ghostface, and Sam, Richie and Dewey come and save her. But as they all get into the elevator, Dewey remembers that you need to shoot the Ghostface in the head. So he leaves the elevator to go and shoot them in the head. Dewey is about to do it, but one thing happens which costs him his life. Dewey gets a call from Gale, which distracts him, so the Ghostface takes that opportunity and attacks him, ultimately leading to his death. I really hated his death as he lost everything and then just died. He was literally at his lowest point, and then instead of getting to a higher point in his life, he just died. And the fact that you could tell Gale still loved him, which was proven at the end of this movie and in Scream 7, really made it hurt more. This really did add so much more stakes for this movie, but I wish Gale and Dewey didn't get divorced and they stayed together. It would have really been cool to see Gale grieve more about Dewey and see her struggle with Dewey's death even more. This movie really shifted away from the main characters, Sydney and Gale. Sydney especially is the heart of the franchise. Without her, it is nothing. Sydney only was at a small part in this movie at the start and then at the end, but all of her screen time in this movie was limited. And Gale, although she had more screen time, it was still not enough. I like the franchise focusing on newer characters, but they need the legacy characters in it more, as they're always going to be the heart of the franchise. Overall, I think this movie was great. There's some bad parts of it, but I think the good parts balanced it out. And personally, I don't agree with people who hate Scream 5 and think it started the downfall of the franchise, although I do think they should have left it at 4.